Welcome back to the HUSLA Podcast. My name is Anthea, one of your hosts. I'm here today with a very special guest, Zoe Smith, and we're going to talk about her journey to becoming a coach, a Thrive coach. So thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
I'm really excited. So I think we should just start with, I guess, maybe how we met and how we got here. So, yeah, where did it all start?
Well, I guess the first time we met was at Strength Culture. I can't really remember. I think I met you a few times before I actually was like confident enough to like talk to you and I was like a big fan. Like I was fangirling. Like I think I followed you for a while before. But yeah, I don't know. We met at Strength Culture just in the gym, and then it was kind of just like an instant friendship, I guess. Yeah.
I just remember when you came into culture, everyone was like, who's this Zoe Smith girl? Because you were literally just such a weapon. Like, you're just such a big part of the community literally from day one. Just everyone could see, I guess, your work ethic and just that you're a fucking weapon with your training.
God,
and
no.
everyone's like, who's this Zoe Smith girl? And they were like, yeah, she's like, yeah.
It was like so daunting, and like I was so nervous coming into, because like I'd never been in a gym like that where you kind of like know everyone and everyone's really friendly and like lovely, and like I was so welcomed in. But I just remember like even my first time going into Strength Culture, I like went to say hi to like Jamie or something. I don't know. I was just walking in and I like fully like blacked out, and like I felt like I just couldn't speak. I was like, these people are like Instagram famous. They're like these like celebrities. Like, but obviously once you get to know everyone, like everyone's so friendly and lovely. But I think that was like a huge like stepping stone into like a whole new world that I'd never experienced. Yeah.
And so did you always have like a passion in nutrition and training and everything?
Yeah, I mean, goes back to like birth. Like I literally was like a nutrition obsessed kid. I can't explain it. I remember like I literally used to make the most random meals and like little snack plates, and like I remember like just always asking everyone what they ate that day.
Being in the car.
Literally, I was like obsessed. Like, I don't know, that was my hyper focus. Yeah. I was like,
so what did you eat today?
Yeah, like literally everyone. Like, even like we would go like carpool to gymnastics, and like I would make everyone, we would go like multiple times a week. We were always in the car together, and I would make everyone tell me what they ate that day.
Were you like taking notes? Like what were you kind of gauging with that information?
I usually give them advice.
You give them advice? How
like
old were you?
Like 10-year-old Zoe, like I thought I knew. But yeah, like I always loved food, loved nutrition, loved, like I would watch those, I don't know if you guys remember those ads that were like the infomercials that went on for like on loop on the channels during the daytime. There was one that was like the salad slicer. It was like this thing that sliced up vegetables, and I loved that thing. I would watch it for like 8 hours and watch them make all the different salads. Like that was my thing.
That's so funny.
Yeah, I did always love nutrition.
And where did you get your nutrition information when you were 10?
Like I literally just
Freely the banana girl.
It was just like from me. That was thankfully way before I got like involved in social media. Like, you know, I didn't get any social media till later, but I always just loved it. I mean, I guess I knew like fruits and vegetables were good for you and like the basics, but I don't know. I was obsessed, which is like slightly concerning as well. Which we can get into like later on how that kind of related with everything later on. But like, yeah, it was always such a passion.
And you always knew that was something that you would follow?
I thought so, yeah. I mean, Jason's looking in. Yeah, I thought I wanted to do something in nutrition always. And then it kind of came full circle later. So yeah, no, I always loved it.
So going back to culture, I remember we met at culture. We ended up actually prepping together for a powerlifting comp, which was so much fun.
So fun.
Like literally some of the best memories that I have.
Yeah.
Just with what powerlifting training is like you really do need people around you. You know, knowing what you're hitting that week or what you're planning on hitting. And I remember we would do like our squats at like freaking 5 p.m, benching
Every
at 6
Tuesday.
p.m, and then accessories at 8. We would genuinely be there for like 3 hours. By the end of it, it was pretty much just me and you in the gym playing our music. Just like
that was like how we bonded. That was really how we bonded. And like, that was so much fun. I feel like that whole experience taught me a lot. And I think like kind of as I came into that whole world, like I really didn't know what I was doing. Like kind of maybe a year before was when I started training with a coach. And I'd been training a few years before that in the gym, but like I'd seen results, but I just didn't really know exactly what I was doing and really needed the help and support. And I just remembered that period. I feel like you just learn so much more in practice than you ever would like through just theoretical learning.
100%.
And I just learned so much in that time, I think, with my coach, but also shout out Jamie Buzz, but also just being around everyone that also knew what they were doing.
100%.
Yeah, it was
and you learn through even troubleshooting certain things, like even niggles and injuries. And of course it's not one size fits all, but you just experiencing that, needing to go through a prep, managing a niggle or something like that, even just the mindset component. Pushing through doing a session when you're so fucking fatigued and you can't be bothered. Like all of these things are what make you a really great coach. So
I think even technique wise, like I didn't understand how, like I knew that bracing was important, for example, the foundations of like good technique, but you don't really notice how much of a difference that makes until you do it. And you realize like, just how much that can impact how much you can lift. Like it was just so cool to feel it as well.
Once you unlock and understand like pelvis and rib cage.
The pelvis and rib cage.
Everything else makes sense. Everything else makes sense.
But that was so much fun. And just the whole lead up to the comp, I think, was the most fun. I think the day of, I was like a nervous wreck.
Same.
But it was so much fun.
I'm just grateful that we got to do that together. And so you had always wanted to study nutrition. How did you know that you wanted to become a PT and a coach?
So, I mean, we were talking about this the other day, but like I didn't even consider it as an option. Like I remember finishing high school and I was like, okay, like I know I want to do something in healthcare, in nutrition, but I had this idea that like you can't make money in nutrition. Like I just thought, okay, it's like really niche and like, I don't know, I just had this belief for some reason. I think maybe people had said or whatever. But then I think coming into somewhere like strength culture where everyone is like going after it, like I just remember walking in and being like, wow, everyone here is like a business owner or they have something of their own that they're working towards, and like everyone's making it a reality for themselves, like they're making this happen. And I was like, I just didn't realize that a job like that could be a thing for me. And I think there was a lot of doubt and like sort of limiting beliefs in that. But I remember like the day that you said like, oh, why wouldn't you study PT, like just in passing? And I was like, oh, like I don't know, I'm too scared. Like you were like, what's holding you back? And like I just remember I went away from that and I was like, yeah, what the hell? And I like bought my PT course the next day and I was like, wow, Anthea said I could do it, so I can do it. Like actually, but I think that just shows like who you're around. It's so cliche, but like who you surround yourself with, that's who you're, like where your bar is, like that's what you think is possible. So that was like really transformative.
It's funny how it's literally just as little as a conversation with someone. I had the same thing. Someone who I really looked up to literally said the same thing to me. They were like, oh, well, I know that you're planning to do exercise and sports science, like study, but why don't you do a PT before that? PT cert before it, so that you can actually work in the industry whilst you're studying for however many years. And I also had all these older people like that I would talk to, these guys from my school at the time, and they would kind of like talk down to me like, who, like, what, you're just going to become a PT whilst you're studying or wanting to study this, and they would like talk shit about it.
Yep.
But I don't know. I think it's like you mentioned, there's sort of that belief that, oh, is it really a career?
Yep.
Or is it really legitimate?
Yep.
Which I think can kind of cloud your decision making in a sense.
Yeah.
But all it takes is a conversation.
Literally.
So that's really, really cool.
It was, And then I think because I had this feeling that I could, maybe I could do it because I had the support system around me. Like I had like you, Jason, like Jamie Smith, Jamie Buzz. Like I feel like I had mentors around me that I was learning from all the time. And I just remember like I loved gym. Like I loved training. I would post on Instagram, made my little like Instagram account, and like I loved it. And then I realized I could do that for a job.
100%.
Like, what the hell? Why wouldn't I do that?
I feel like that was a part of the conversation. I was like, you're clearly so passionate. As I mentioned, everyone could see the passion and the drive. I was
posting as if I was a coach.
When
I wasn't. Like like top set of squats today, guys. like you know, it was meant to be.
100%.
Yeah.
So and then we obviously stayed very close friends after we did the comp. I mean, we did the comp the year that we were opening the gym, which was in 2023. I remember everything happened literally within like a month.
Yeah,
I
that was
competed.
A busy year for you.
I like went away. We got the keys. I graduated. Like it all happened literally within a month. It was fucked. And then, you know, many years later, here we are together. So
it's like such a blessing. Like, because I started out my own business and that was great and like learnt a lot. But I think just having someone that has had years in the game and that has troubleshot all of those things that like I was learning. I mean, it was like a fast track almost. It was like a no-brainer when you offered me the job. Like I already had you as a mentor. I already learnt from you, and I already really admired the way that you coached and like what you'd built. And it was kind of always a bit of a dream in the back of my head. Like in my head, I was like, yeah, I want to work for Anthea one day. Like I just
that's
knew.
why I told you to go get your PT.
Yeah, it was all a plan. She's like, I'm gonna get a return on investment with this one.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, like I mean, it was kind of a no-brainer. I mean, like I think I was definitely like when we first started talking about this job, I was nervous and I was like, can I handle it? Like, you know, it was like a bigger step for sure. Like even opportunities like this, like being on a podcast or doing like, you know, more content and just like being out there more. I remember being like, it took me a few days to like think about it. And I remember having a conversation with a friend and like this one analogy like switched it. It was like, they pretty much said that HUSLA and like Thrive is like a freeway and you're trying to merge and like Anthea's giving you a spot to merge. Like it's going to like propel you in your learning and your development. And I was like, that's so true. Like that was kind of like, okay, I need to do it. And that was, so glad I did.
And now we're here.
And now here we are.
And I think what I've always like, we're just always on the same page, and that's why I guess the friendship and just the relationship that we've had is so easy because we're just on the same wavelength, you know? We just...
Yeah. And I think like that is part of why we work really well together is because we do have a foundation of a really strong, close friendship and like we know each other and how we operate and when we both need to go non-verbal or like we have the understanding, which I think helps.
100%.
And we just both really care about each other, which I think is really important.
And
it's
underrated. I think, you know, you can't minimize the impact of people outside of you sometimes that obviously see you in a really positive light, which you might not see yourself in. Yeah. But you've got someone else outside of you that's like, come on, I can see this vision. Like I have this vision for you.
You believed in me so much. And I was like... why? Like, what the fuck? Like, I like couldn't see it, you know, like, I think we obviously doubt ourselves so much more, but I just, you had so much belief in me and that like really pushed me. So thank you.
Love you.
I think
this is getting really
love you so much. Anyway, let's get back to the...
All right, let's get back to
the protocol. Anyway, we just like love each other and like we're just like really like good friends. That's like the whole podcast.
Yeah, I'll be like, all right, I get it. All right, so let's get back to your journey, where it started. So you're obsessed with nutrition. You're asking all of your friends what they had eaten that day and what they were planning on eating.
Yeah.
And so tell me a little bit more about your journey, because you obviously grew up, well, not obviously, but you grew up as a gymnast and had a really athletic background.
Yeah.
So I'd love to hear more about that.
Yeah. I mean, I started gymnastics when I was like 4.
Wow.
And I was just a really like hypermobile, hyperactive kid, and like I would just be jumping off stuff, and like my parents like just get in the gym, like do it somewhere padded, like. So yeah, it was kind of like I remember my mum telling me like she would find me in my cot like sleeping with my legs over my head, and like I would be folded stretch. Like a pretzel. Yeah. Yeah, I was just like always like super like flexible, active. And I mean, now like looking back, now that I'm diagnosed with ADHD, I was like, that makes sense. Like I was just so like I just needed to be moving all the time. So gymnastics was like I like fell in love instantly. And yeah, I did that for a long time. For like 15 years or something.
Wow.
No,
so
12, 13 years, yeah.
That's a long time. Did you fully specialize in that? Like, didn't do any other sports?
I did other sport. I did like tennis and stuff, but my main thing was always gymnastics, and it was like a huge time commitment. Like once you kind of move up into the levels, like into squad and stuff, the time commitment is huge. So it would be like 4-hour training, 4 to 5 hour training sessions, and it would be like multiple. I think we ended up just doing like 3 sessions a week or 4 sessions a week of 4 hours. But it is just like really a lot of time commitment.
That's heaps.
Yeah.
And also even just thinking about the energy demand on your body,
dude,
at such a young age as well.
It's crazy.
And if you're not actually fueling yourself properly, like 4-hour sessions,
they're
multiple times a week.
They're long. I mean, like, yeah. But when you love it so much, like as a kid, like I would like cry if I couldn't go one day, or like I was obsessed. Like I was always like pushing my mum, like, okay, we've got to be on time. Like I just needed to be there, because I loved it. And I guess like as you move through into like the higher levels, it gets a little bit more kind of like serious or dedicated. But there was always that underlying, like expectation and culture that you need to be really disciplined, committed, like the harder you work, the better, really, which I think taught me so much about how effort and consistency and like being dedicated to something really does pay off. And like you can get philosophical with it as well. Like I feel like you're trying these scary tricks and you're doing these flips. It's like you're scared. Like it's really scary. And like you have to practice something and be scared, and then it'll get easier. And like that's sort of like you can apply that to your life, obviously. Yeah. So it taught me so much in that regard. But but I was just obsessed. I was just this kid that needed to keep flipping all the time.
Well, it's like you trying to get me to go to bounce.
Yeah, I'm like, guys, let's still go.
I'm not going to do it. I saw some coach on Instagram do an ACL at bounce, so I'm not going to go.
I'm not doing it. Yeah, no, I'm craving to like get back into like, I don't know, adult gymnastics, or like just some kind of like free open class where I can just do some stuff. Yeah. Because it's like muscle memory, like you don't lose it. Well, you lose a bit, but yeah.
We should do like a HUSLA team day. Yeah. And just go to like a gymnastics thing.
We should.
And Zoe can just like show us all how it's done.
No, I actually don't think I can do anything anymore, to be honest. Like, I think I'm actually scared now.
No. Yeah. I think it'll come back.
We'll see.
But let's talk a little bit about, I guess, what came with that sport, because obviously it's a very body focused sport. I mean, you're in a leotard. And how that kind of led you to this journey now.
So I guess like, I mean, it's obviously like from the get-go you're wearing like next to nothing all the time, and it's you get used to that, like you grow up in it, but you know, it's obviously a body focused sport. It's obviously about power and athleticism and, you know, artistry and all of that, and the skill. But at the end of the day, you are judged on the shape that you make, or the body like shape kind of, and like your form. So like inevitably that does bring sort of the focus on your physical body. Yeah. But I don't know. I mean, I think there is a culture in the sport as well that is very, I would say, like, probably not as similar as something like dancing, where I think it's probably more prevalent. But yeah, definitely, like, it's about, you think about like, oh, I want to feel like light and strong, for example. Like, you want to feel like you can move really easily through the movements. Like, you're doing all body weight stuff. You want to be like feeling like you have like power to weight ratio.
Yep.
But if you're not like educated in that, that can very easily become like, I just need to be the smallest I can possibly be, which really doesn't support you in the sport. But yeah, I guess like you mix like a really body focused sport and then a nutrition obsessed kid and then put her through puberty. It's like inevitable kind of recipe for body image issues. So I think that kind of really I was always conscious of body image. Like, honestly, I can think back to like when I was young, like I would diet, like I would like write up a meal plan for myself. And like that's really sad when you think about it, like that young. That's so sad. But yeah, it was probably around like 13, 14 that I started really struggling. And then I think it was a mixture of that and like social media, sort of people I was following that weren't a good influence. And I just became like, into this really sort of dark place where I was obsessed with having abs. That was what started it. And then it just became like, how lean can I be?
And that's where the obsession starts, is I want to have abs. And then it's like, well, fuck, you don't actually realize
what
how
goes
much
into
effort
that
and work goes into like getting abs and then maintaining it as well.
And just also if that's even feasible for you, like, and your body, like it's not going to be, that level of body fat isn't always achievable or healthy for everyone. But yeah, like I think I'm trying to remember like what came first, but I think it was definitely, I started like trying to eat differently. I was going very much into like whole foods, paleo, like just food group restriction. My thing wasn't so much calorie restriction. I didn't really wasn't that educated around calories, but with the influences that I had, I was like, okay, I was really demonizing certain foods. Now looking back, I know that I was never diagnosed or anything, but like orthorexia is the word that makes the most sense for it.
The obsession with healthy eating,
healthy versus non-healthy. And like I had this, I just had so much fear around certain foods. Like I just was terrified. And I even remember it was some really disordered sort of behaviors, like even like making up food intolerances that weren't even a thing. So I had an excuse to not eat something. That was like, looking back, I'm like, whoa. But yeah, I mean, I thought it was healthy. I thought I was doing the healthiest thing possible. And I was like, I thought that was what you had to do.
I, not to make this about me, but I relate to that so much with my own journey as well, because you're so just in it. You're like, this is the answer. This is the healthy thing. This is it.
Like, why didn't I think of this before?
And why doesn't everyone else know this? Like, you need to eat healthy whole foods. You need to eat low fat or, you know, whatever the rigid food rules are. You believe that is the answer and that's the healthy thing. And then you kind of don't realize the other negative things until you're, I guess, you are educated. So what was that for you when you started to kind of realize that maybe what you were doing, the approach that you were taking, wasn't so healthy?
I think it took a long time. Like at least for a year, like I'd lost a lot of weight. I became like very, very lean. I still had muscle because I was training so much, but there was yeah, I mean, I was very lean, and to be honest, I was like, this is great. Like, this is so good. Like, there's no detriment to this. Like, I didn't notice it for a while. And I think because you also have like external influences, like people commenting, oh my God, like you look so good, and like praising you, and they obviously don't know what's going on sort of behind the scenes. And I mean, I did not have any real I knew about nutrition, but I didn't have like the real sort of evidence-based knowledge yet. Of course, I was young and hadn't learned yet, but I remember making like like paleo bread, which was like all nuts, for my pre-workout meal. And I'm like, looking back, I'm like no, like that's the worst thing you could have before a 4-hour session. But I thought that was it, you know. And then it was then starting to get injured all the time, which again, I thought like, oh, I'm a real athlete. Like that's what we do. Like I'm a real hardworking gymnast, and you need to push through. That was definitely the culture, is you need to push through sickness, injury, like no matter what you're feeling, don't listen to your body.
I'm smiling because
you were the same.
No, I'm smiling because like me knowing you, that's you're very like you'll show up no matter what. Like that's
Look,
something
I
that I
do struggle with that. I do, but that was the culture, and injuries were like just happening all the time. I remember like always spraining an ankle, always being on crutches or having taped up everywhere, just like ligament and joint like pain and strains all the time. And clearly I was just so under recovered for the training load. I mean, your training demands are so high in that sport. Like it's 4 hours of like strength conditioning, like so much strength and conditioning, like we would do like rope climbs with like a weighted vest, and you'd have to like go up and down without stopping. Like it was like intense. And obviously you have like quite a lot of like force impact and like plyometric work. So all of your joints and ligaments are like going under stress. So like, under so much load. And I was just so under recovered from that. But I think also because I was so mentally restricted and I was under eating so much, like I just didn't have the brain focus in that as well. And I think, you know, like obviously you're doing like a flip on a beam like this wide, like you need to be focused and like switched on. And if you're not there, which happens so much if you're not eating enough, like you're going to get injured in a sport like that. Like you really do need to be focused. So that was another part of it. Then I was like, I haven't had my period in a while.
This is kind of nice.
Yeah, this is great. Yeah, like I didn't think anything of it for a while, and then I remember I think I just told my mum, and she's like, "Oh, that's probably not good." Like, and she's like, "We'll keep an eye on it." And then it was like over a year since, like it ended up being over a year since I last had a period, and I was like, okay, that's probably not normal. And I started kind of researching into it and learning more about it, and that's when I knew, okay, like something's not right here. But again, I sort of ignored it because I thought, you know, I'm an athlete, like that's what you do. And I think that's so common in, you know, you see it in like low energy availability, like that it's kind of like normalized when it shouldn't be.
100%.
And there's obviously like really detrimental impacts of not having those hormones, and they impact
at a developing age as well.
Yeah, but it impacts your performance as well. Like, you know, I had this idea that, okay, the leaner I am, the smaller I am, I'll be a better athlete. I'll be better at my sport. I'll be more like worthy or whatever. Like I had these complexes around it. But yeah, I didn't have like the hormones that I needed. Like it just, and it showed in sort of like, obviously constantly injured, cold all the time, like not really excited about life. Like I was just dull for a good year. Like I remember like even my friend, like I was 15 at the time, like all my friends at school were like, oh my God, like this boy. And I was like,
disinterested.
I don't care. Like I had no hormones for a normal like age. You're obviously supposed to be like, you know, that's like your
prime time.
Yeah, like it's like you're, you know, coming into adolescence. So that was like, I was like, yeah, I don't care. Like, I'm just a gymnast.
All I care about is gymnastics.
All I care is about being an athlete. I think what kind of like switched it was I remember reading a post. I think it was Naturally Nina. She's a sports nutritionist or dietitian now. Queen. And I followed her for a long time. I followed everything I followed and watched for like a year and a half was food content. Like what I eat in a day videos on YouTube. Like I wasn't eating enough, but I would watch other people eat. And it was like probably those things are correlated. But just all I would consume and watch and do was food content. I took a photo of every meal I would eat. And I still have a folder. Like every day I would take a photo of the meal. I wasn't tracking, but I guess that was my way of tracking. And had so much fear if I deviated from my normal routine. But I remember following her, and she definitely had like a much more healthy outlook and approach in terms of fueling yourself. And she did a post on amenorrhea and how like you can end up in a wheelchair before the age of 30 if you lose your period. Like it has a huge impact on your bone health. And and I was like, oh, so this isn't all good and like glamorous. Like there's actually really scary effects. And like it was that. And then my mum, shout out to my mum, honestly, like she threatened to pull me out of gymnastics, and that was what actually got me there. Like she was like, you can't keep going like this. You know, like we need to sort this out. Like we need to try and get you some help, get your period back. So like really grateful that she, at the time I was like, you fucking, like I hated it. Like I was like, no, like this is my sport. It was my whole identity. Like, so the fear of not being able to do the sport was probably the thing. Yeah. She was the goat. She was like, you have to eat this or you're not going to gymnastics tomorrow. I was like, wow, like it's what I needed. But then, kind of from there went to see a dietitian who, her name was Amy Giannotti. She like is incredible. Literally had one appointment with her, and then we set out a plan. Like her specialty was kind of period recovery. And then she said usually it takes about 3 months of like eating enough again, and reducing training load, reducing stress to get it back. And it was like 3 months to the day I got it. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah.
It's, from what I've seen and even in myself, it took like way longer. Of just like actually eating enough. And reducing your training load. You have to fully commit. And it's such a scary journey.
It was so scary. I think there was a few moments like that kind of triggered it for me to actually commit to it, because I would start trying to eat more because I knew that I should, and then I would just fully come back and restrict again because I was like, no, that's way too scary. But it wasn't until I think I like came back from a interstate comp, and I came back and we'd been away for the weekend, and I never usually weighed myself, but I like did once, and when I saw this certain number, I was like, okay, we need to do something. Like this isn't right. Like this isn't right for me. And like it was a few moments like that where it was feeling like, okay, there's a detriment and there's something scary that could, if I keep going like this, it's not going to be good.
As in terms of the weight gain journey?
Sorry, like that was kind of before I committed to the journey. I remember seeing...
You saw a lower number on the scale?
Yeah. And I, like, it wasn't good. So, I think, like, I had to kind of... You could try and tell me, but until I saw that there was something bad about this, I wasn't going to change. I think that's the hardest thing, especially literally as a teenager. Like you can hear with that example of you're going to end up in a wheelchair. That's obviously very fear-based, confronting, which is honestly probably what you need. But to care about having kids or your fertility or any of those things, you don't
care about any of that
Don't
stuff.
care.
You weren't even interested in boys.
I wanted to be shredded.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I wanted.
Exactly.
Fully.
That's the most
All
important
I cared
thing.
about was being shredded.
So to be able to kind of slowly mold your values to actually start caring about your health, it's a slow process. And I guess
I think that fear, like I needed something that was tangible, that was going to be scary enough to change. And I mean, like, I don't know. Yeah. Like I didn't really care. I wanted to be lean, and like that was all that mattered. But then I guess the change was not being able to do my sport. That was like, okay, I'll do anything.
So how much longer did you, when you kind of embarked on the journey of eating more, fueling after you saw the dietitian, how much longer did you play gymnastics before you stopped?
Played.
I
love when you say played for every sport. The other day she's like, did you play jiu-jitsu?
Well, fuck, what's the word?
I don't know. I actually don't do it. I don't know. But I just love
all right,
No, sorry. I didn't mean to call you out. I just love when you say that. Did you play it? No. Well, I'm trying to think of the timeline, but it was like 2018. End of 2018 was like when I actually saw the dietitian, decided I needed to fully commit to it. Then it was tough. I mean, it was like a few months of eating more, but it wasn't just like the weight restoration that needed to happen. Like there was just obviously there were so many beliefs and kind of like the psychological side of it, where I had attached so much worth to being lean, and I thought that was what would make me the best athlete I could be, and also the most, confident or happy with myself. But the reality is I still wasn't happy with myself. Like I got very, very lean. I had like veins everywhere, and I thought that I wasn't lean. Like it's
that's the body dysmorphia.
Yeah, and you don't actually you don't see it. And then when you're also in an underfed state, like your brain can't really use logic normally. Like your brain's not running the way it should be because you're not eating enough to create the hormones and the signaling, molecules and stuff. Like it's like a cycle. So where was I going with that?
We're talking about your journey, kind of navigating gaining weight and
yes. Like the weight restoration and eating enough needed to happen for me to psychologically recover as well.
Yes.
Like that kind of needed to happen for the psychology part to even work.
But there's sometimes a bit of a lag with it as well, because as you mentioned, you've still got kind of your old set of beliefs that don't fully match up with where you are.
Yeah. But it was like a long process of like a lot of like really somatic stuff. For example, like I would do a lot of like journaling and like meditation, and I was changing my social media like sort of environment, which was huge for me. Like unfollowed people that weren't helpful, and was trying to create a much safer and more like positive environment, and that helped a lot. Like I would do a lot of meditations and like journaling and stuff. And I know that sounds like fluffy, but it was more so a way for me to like connect with my body and like treat it as something that wasn't just like my physical self. Like I was able to connect more with that, and then learn some other body image practices, and just rewrite honestly my whole belief system, which was a long process, and it was that took into like probably the next year or two. But once I actually like regained my period, I was like, okay, like this has been really worth it. And surprisingly, I mean, that was just such a challenging period because I was so used to this certain body composition, obviously looking whatever, but my actual sport, like when you gain weight, it does change how you perform and like how things feel, and you have to like recalculate everything because all of the ratios are different, everything feels different. So that period of time was really challenging. Like I remember everything feeling harder, and like I didn't feel like I was progressing and that kind of thing. But I knew I had to kind of work towards this other goal. And my coach was really supportive with that as well, which was great. But turns out, like, once I got my period back and I was feeling really well, and like I was a lot more educated, like my training like skyrocketed, and like I was the best I'd ever been. I was the most powerful. Like all of my, like, used to do a lot of tumbling and flips, and like everything was just so much easier. I was recovered. I wasn't sick. I wasn't injured. I wasn't cold. I was like the best athlete I could have been. And I remember that being such a fear to actually go into recovery, was like, I'm going to lose everything. Like all the things I've worked so hard for. And the dietitian I saw, she was honestly amazing. Like, she really encouraged me to like view it from that perspective, that like my training will get so much better, even though I didn't believe it at the time, but it did.
You never believe it. And I see this with even, you know, women that we help. They're maybe in a state where they're really wanting to, you know, diet and maintain a certain level of body composition, and they're afraid of eating more. You think that you're okay with where you're at because you've got these really strict, rigid beliefs around the comfort of your identity and all of these things. But it's literally not until you push outside of your comfort zone, you do the hard thing, you eat more, then you get all this energy and you have a will to live, and you know, get excited about training again. And
I had glow in my skin again, and I had energy to train, and I was actually the strongest and probably the leanest as well that I'd been. I had so much more muscle as well, but I was just like so much, I had just kind of gotten so much better in every way. But mentally I had completely transformed my beliefs around food, my fears around food. Because I'd worked with a dietitian as well, I felt like I had education, and she like helped me kind of work through fear foods, and like she would like set me challenges, like, okay, like when you go to this movie with your friend, like I want you to have like one sip of the full sugar drink. And I was like, I can't, like I can't. But like then I realized that you don't die and nothing bad happens. And then that was really sort of, that shaped my my belief system around food now as well, is that it just is so context dependent, and like something that's a healthy food or an unhealthy food is just, that's like so arbitrary. Like the healthiest thing for me to do at that point, like health seeking behavior, was to have a full sugar drink, because I was so afraid of it. And like that was the most healthy option. And I think that just has really like shaped how I believe like
we should view nutrition.
It's just so context dependent
100%.
and individual.
And I think that's what social media completely misses. It's
100%.
It's like, oh, I have to eat in this way, you know, oh yeah, you should avoid those things, or you should avoid this. But yeah, as you said, one thing or one type of food that's health seeking, or one behavior that's health seeking for one person is completely different to the next person.
So I don't know if that even made sense, because I like jumbled the timeline up, but it was probably a full year of changing my behavior and beliefs, and it was not easy. Like it was very challenging, and I had a lot of breakdowns, and you know, my body was changing, and I had to really practice like learning to accept my body, and learning kind of the principles of like body neutrality, and like all of the things that can really help with navigating difficult body image. And I just, it really transformed everything. And now, like for the last few years, I'm just in a really strong place. Like I haven't really struggled with any of that, because I put the work in. I put in the work.
Well, you went through, challenging, like two extremes, of course. And navigating that. So how does like gym, powerlifting, all of that, how does that kind of weave into your story?
I guess like I finished, like I stopped gymnastics as I was heading into
Stopped
playing it. I was like heading into year 12. It was COVID as well. We were doing like training outside at the gym, and it was just like it wasn't really, I wasn't passionate really anymore. And I thought I'd done my time. I was like, I think I'm done. Like, I had injuries. I was like, I'm done. So yeah, went into year 12 and I was like, I need something, like I need an outlet. So I started going to the gym, and I definitely didn't know really what I was doing. Like, I was following like TikTok workouts and like people online. But I definitely made a lot of progress in that time, but it got to a point where I just sort of stalled. And then trying to think of when it really, I think I just did my own thing in the gym for a while. But for me, like, I never had a bad relationship with the gym or with training. Like, that was after everything. And it was like this new positive experience of like, I can actually train to be strong and like, just focus on a new goal of like performance and building muscle. And like, it was like a completely new thing for me. And it was like really positive. So thankfully I never had any sort of disordered or negative kind of patterns with the gym. But I just started training, loved it. It was like it was the thing that kept me sane in year 12. Like, I would get up at like 4:30 and train at the gym.
4:30 a.m.
I would get up really early because like, year 12 is like intense. So I needed like something that was like an outlet. So I'd go and like have my like little hour in the morning, and it was so good, that routine. I would like walk to the gym near my house, probably really unsafe for me to do that, but it was like a 10-minute walk. Then I just like fell in love with it. And then I guess powerlifting came in later. I think I got to a point where I was really like just stalling with my progress, and I was like, okay, I need help.
The sumo deadlifts in your garage during COVID.
We'll insert a clip.
So far.
Oh, girl, like, don't.
They were good. When you showed me them the other day, you're like, oh, and I'm like, dude, your technique's
not the worst,
pretty
but
good.
It was pretty bad. But I remember watching like, I don't know who I started following, but I think it would have been like a few kind of fitness people in the industry, and then eventually found strength culture from that. And I was like, this is so cool. Like, I just thought, okay, maybe I can really get past this plateau that I'm at. And then that was like the thing that changed everything. I didn't even know powerlifting was a thing, but once I learned about it, I was like, that's so fun and really cool. And it was cool because I saw other women doing it, and I was like, okay, like maybe this is something I could do. And then I think because it was like completely focused on performance, like it was like, you know, not about body composition necessarily, and just like how strong you can be. That was like really empowering. I think that was a big switch for me.
And so like with everything that you've kind of learned over the years, with the athletic background to gaining weight to overcoming the body image struggles, like what would you say to someone who's maybe currently struggling with their body image, either on a consistent basis or just sometimes, as a lot of women do struggle with their body image time to time?
Like, what would I say to them?
I know it's a loaded question. However you want to answer it.
There's so much. I mean, I think what like changed it for me was thinking about the long term, like kind of detriment. Like, you know, it feels like quite like this ideal glamorized thing, like to, you know, reach the body of your dreams, or like get to this certain idea you have in your head as like, that's going to make me happy. But I think what I realized was once I got there, it wasn't enough still. And I wasn't happy. And there was also just so much happening in my body, and my body was like fighting it and shutting down. And I think what changed it for me was probably just looking at the long-term impacts, and like how you can really do damage. Like, you know, if you're not eating enough, like you can have like multi-organ failure. Like your heart can literally stop. Like it seems like, oh yeah, like you're just losing weight, but there are some really scary and dangerous effects of that. So I think learning about that was the key. And just to say that there is there is another way.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a dangerous way to do things.
Yeah.
There is like a more sustainable way to do it. Yeah.
And also not just obviously the physical aspect of it is very real and confronting, but even just from a social, mental aspect of just the consumption of like your day-to-day thoughts, obsession. Preoccupation of your body, what it's looking like 24/7.
It just took me away from everything else in my life. Like I wasn't present in any social situations. I was like constantly just obsessed, and it's like you're stuck. Like it's just this cycle, and it makes your world so small. So moving out of that and recovering from that, like just know that it opens up your whole world again.
100%. Because as we know, when you're actually kind of embarking on a fat loss journey, we know that the body dissatisfaction actually increases a lot of the time with that journey.
For sure.
But of course we're fixated when we have that goal. It's like, no, I am going to be more confident here. I'm going to be happier. And that can be the case for some people, definitely. Like, there's nothing wrong with pursuing body composition goals. We obviously help a lot of women with, changing their body composition. But as you said, we've got this belief that everything will be fixed, but often it kind of exacerbates things, or it can exacerbate things.
And the goalpost constantly moves. Like you get to one thing and you want more. I think like trying to find sort of the intention behind why you're doing what you're doing, I think is really important. And like what your prior relationship with food, your experiences, and your kind of the strength of your body image as well. Like those things really need to be prioritized, in my opinion, before you kind of go on a fat loss journey. But I think also just having sort of guidance that is correct and evidence-based and like balanced and like nuanced. Like I think there's so much value in like you need to be able to view health as total overall health. Like we have so many facets of, social, mental, physical, even like, just like even spiritual. Like there's just so many factors of health that need to be considered for an overall person. And I think having guidance that considers all of that is really important. And you still can pursue a body composition goal, but it's important to have like that basis and understanding.
And that's where Thrive comes in.
Like subtle plug. But it's true. I think dieting, like, again, it's not always inherently bad. Someone, I can't remember if it was like, it was a dietitian, either A in the dietitian, shout out, or Leah, the Plant Strong dietitian. I can't remember who posted it, but they basically said this analogy that like dieting is like a contact sport. Like it's not inherently bad, or it's not that you're inherently going to do harm, but there is risk involved. And then say if you have a predisposition or a history of disordered eating, that's kind of like going in with a prior injury. So it's like, you can view it as it's not necessarily going to be a bad thing. It's not inherently harmful, but there is risk and there's things that you need to do to manage that risk.
And I guess the way that you could approach going into a contact sport or a fat loss phase in this analogy would be kind of gaining more armor, and that armor would be working on your relationship with food.
Having education around food.
Having different skills, knowledge, all of that thing. All of that thing.
All that thing. And just body image tools as well. There's gonna be struggles and fluctuations at every goal and every body composition. You're always gonna have that, so you need to be able to manage it as well.
And so how do you approach your nutrition and navigate dieting, gaining weight, everything in the most recent years?
I think it was really like transformative, I guess, to learn about nutrition in that way, and like even learning about macros and calories. Like I know that some people would say, oh, like that's still a form of, being rigid, but for me, I was able to see it as like all food is just food. And like obviously there's some we want more of than others, but it was like really empowering to know that I could still eat like anything and have the foods I love and still see the results I wanted. And I think doing a gaining phase was really like, yeah, it was a really beneficial time for me. Just like actively pursuing gaining weight is like, goes against everything that we're kind of taught. Yeah. And it's like very empowering, and I just felt so many benefits of that. So I guess now, yeah, I still really value kind of periods of gaining weight, or muscle, for like more specifically muscle, obviously. And cutting, I think now I have a very sort of objective relationship with it. I think because I'm in a really strong place and I've done so much of that work in terms of body image and like body acceptance, I can now do it from a healthy place where like, yeah, I don't know, it's very intentional. I'll always have someone guiding it, like a coach guiding it, and it's something that I do very sparingly. Like, we know that, you know, you don't want to be dieting most of the year
24/7.
So yeah, I think just viewing it like that, and just knowing that, yeah, you can achieve amazing body composition results without it like damaging your life 100%. And being this like awful thing. Yeah.
And that's what we help people to do.
Yeah,
I love that. So what are your thoughts on like, I guess, the current landscape of like the health and fitness industry and where things are headed?
Look, it's obviously constantly changing. I think like it would be ignorant to not like talk about the fact that like there's a thinness epidemic, like a skinny epidemic happening, and it's pretty scary. Like, I think with the rise of like Ozempic and GLP-1s and like probably the misuse of them as well, everyone's just getting very thin, and it's like the elephant in the room. And you know, it's people that maybe were like, you know, just see everywhere, celebrities, even just people from high school you haven't seen in 5 years, and they're like 15 kilos lighter, or like it's just everywhere. But I think it does have a huge impact. Like I think we've talked about this a lot, but like even with a really strong relationship with food, relationship with my body, like I've put in so much work to focus on being strong and being healthy. Like I still feel the impacts of that, and I'm like, oh, maybe I should be smaller, or maybe I should be dieting.
100%. Because it's like the norm of,
it's like a trend, body trend.
And like we've spoken about and had so many conversations, you know, we've always wanted to put on weight and gain muscle and build our glutes and do the hard thing, push outside of our comfort zone. But naturally, I'm not even into that much keeping up with the media and stuff, but it is still there. And, you know, seeing everyone on the red carpet and this, that, and just everyone else pretty much chasing this like level of leanness, it's like, you know, you do start to be like, it's just in our inherent nature to compare ourselves, right? So we're like, okay, do we really want a muscular upper body? Like, do I want to be athletic? But you literally need to push back on it.
You have to push so hard
and stay grounded in your own priorities. Because I think, again, we've had some really great conversations around when you do have those thoughts of, oh, maybe I could get a lot leaner, or, you know, look this certain type of way. But then it's like, fuck, what would I have to do to do that? And we know what that takes. And that kind of lifestyle would not align with what we'd want for ourselves. Like, we strength train and weight train because we love feeling empowered and strong, and we love fueling our bodies and having more freedom with our food, and that adding
having
to our
a healthy
overall
cycle,
health.
having hormones, like it's, I think what I've tried to remind myself of, and like I have been definitely feeling the pressure, and I think like it's important to recognize that like we all will feel like just the social and political like kind of ideals. Like, I mean, I don't know, I don't want to get too political, but it's all related. Like, you know, there's so much pressure to be a certain way and to fit a certain ideal. But I think I just try and remind myself that like I've been there and it's not worth it. Like I just know that it's not worth it. Like the detrimental effects and the feeling that you have, or at least that I had in that time, it just is so not worth it for me. And like all of the benefits that I've gained from looking at my training and health from a different perspective are just so much more valuable to me now. And I just have to constantly remind myself of that. And I think having like surrounding myself with other women who are committed to valuing that as well is really helpful. Like just being around each other all the time, and other people that we just want to train and eat to be strong, and kind of push away against that. And just also know that like as much as it sucks, like it is kind of a trend, and trends change. Like if I can stay grounded in what's important to me, like it will eventually pass.
100%.
Yeah.
And I've fully forgotten where I'm going.
Skinniness, skinny talk, skinny epidemic.
And like as we have spoken about in terms of wanting to actively seek body composition change and fat loss, again, there's nothing inherently wrong with that, but just questioning where that's coming from, I think. And yeah, if we do want to embark on a fat loss journey, it's like, okay, but why do we want to do this? Is this just because we're feeling really overwhelmed by everyone around us and feeling this pressure, or is it no, like I genuinely really want this for myself, for my own goals, and I want to do this. So just being, I guess, inquisitive and curious with where that why is coming from.
And I think also learning how to not be reactive when it comes to dieting, because like it's like you have one bad body image day or week, and then you think, okay, I need to diet. Like you really can't be approaching it like that, or we'd be dieting every 2 weeks, which doesn't make sense. Like I think having a coach or someone, at least some sort of influence that teaches you how to have a yearly plan and a structure, and that you can fit like diets in that time and cutting phases, but we need to spend enough time not dieting. I'm a really big fan of the like idea that you need to earn your right to do a dieting phase.
100%.
And you need to spend enough time not dieting and enough time like not jumping ship because you might feel a bit uncomfortable on a certain day, and being able to spend enough time eating enough to kind of earn it. And yeah, I think just being really intentional with how that works, and like we stick to the plan that we've set out. We don't just like reactively jump into a diet.
100%. Yeah, because most of the time you're not going to stick it out with that anyways,
and it's probably a temporary fluctuation body image or trigger or something that's come up that will pass in probably a few days.
And I guess learning to actually sit with and understand about the body image fluctuations instead of just making it mean everything about you and needing to be reactive. It's like, okay, why has this come up? Oh, I went shopping and I was trying on clothes in really harsh lighting. I was in the peak of my luteal phase, fucking overheating. I was, I was bloated. I had a conversation, about all the other girls, and they were talking about their diets and this, and it's like, okay, we are now starting to understand all of these different factors about how our nervous system, responds to being dysregulated, that having an impact on how we're viewing ourselves, our mood, what kind of state our mindset is in. It's obviously going to be quite critical, not very regulated. There are so many. Gosh, I could go on forever.
So many. But like, I think that's the biggest thing, is learning to learning tools to navigate those things, because they're just going to come up inevitably, and being able to be very structured and intentional with a dieting phase. I think that's probably the main thing.
I'm going to we'll ask a couple more questions before we wrap up. I feel like it's been a really great convo. How do you know if someone is ready to enter a cut or do a cut?
I think that they need to have enough sort of prior experience or knowledge around nutrition, whether that's working with a coach or a dietitian or whoever, to kind of assess like what a dieting phase is actually going to entail. Like it's something that does take consistency. It is a level of restriction that you need to be prepared for. You need to have the tools and knowledge to like manage that and, you know, keep yourself like in a sustainable kind of state. Like you want to be eating to keep yourself full. You want to still be eating the foods you like. I think that takes knowledge and skill to kind of be able to adhere to. And then I think needing to be in a place where you have a somewhat strong relationship with food and body image. For example, if someone comes to us with, you know, they struggle a lot with their relationship with food or with body image, like I would never ever want to put them in a dieting phase straight away. Like that's just not responsible and it's also not going to work. And I think like, yeah, that's really important. So if someone's ready, they've probably spent enough time not dieting, they've built foundation nutrition knowledge, spent enough time at maintenance, and it's coming from a place that is intentional rather than like a place of kind of hatred or self-critical kind of place. Yeah. And what would you add to that?
All of those things are spot on, but also even just like your nutritional skills, like do you have the habits of preparing and cooking food and doing all of that? Or do you mainly just eat meals that are prepared for you, or you eat on the go and you purchase a lot of food?
The basics.
Obviously we can still have nutrition improvement from changing those things, like going for healthier options or more balanced options, or starting to gain more education around the foods you're eating. But I guess as a functioning adult, we still do need the skills, the underlying skills and the foundations of being able to prepare and organize our own food and
the basics.
In order to actually embark on a successful fat journey, I would say you need to certainly be organized. So building all of those skills, which can take time. And that's fine. And that's not to say that you won't see progress along that journey. I think that's what I also want people to know, is that just because we're kind of saying, all right, let's focus on your habits, the foundation, it doesn't mean that you're not going to see progress. A lot of the time you will see a lot of progress because by focusing on your habits, you know, eating more home cooked meals, eating more protein, eating more veggies, more fruits, that naturally sometimes displaces other things and that leads you to seeing results. So it also doesn't need to be one or the other. Like they're just like putting in the groundwork is going to definitely help you achieve your goal.
For sure.
We'll do one more question. So I want to know, what's something that you've changed your mind on in the last couple of years? I want it to be kind of recent. Like you thought you were pretty sure of something, but
shit. So much. I think that like particularly studying at uni now, I mean, we haven't even talked about that, but I am studying to be a dietitian eventually one day. I'm in my undergrad and third year, so I'll be going into the masters either next year or the year after. But you just learn something new literally every day with that. I don't know if there's like a particular kind of lesson that I can think of, but it's just everything is constantly evolving, and I think like you really need to be just really open to learning, and like the evidence is always changing as well, and trying to stay current and up to date with that. But I think you just need to always be open to learning and open to being wrong. In terms of something I've changed my mind about, that's actually really tough. Do you have one?
For myself?
Yeah. Is there anything you have?
I don't know about super recent, but like, I don't know, just even as a young coach, like I used to think that more variety for a beginner client was better. Like that's something that haunts me. I'm like, oh my God, I had no idea. Like I genuinely was like, switching it up all the time with their training was good because it exposes them to lots of different positions. And I fully had that
shock
belief.
The body.
Shock the body. Well, like, it just makes you like a varied, like, anyways. And then I was doing education with JPS, and I was at one of their seminars, I don't know how many years ago. And they're like, oh no, like with a beginner, you want to do the same thing. You want practice, you want to build their skill, and then you can move into bringing more variety into their program. And I was like, oh really?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
And
just
now
stuff like that.
You've completely changed that kind of philosophy.
100%.
I think mine would probably be probably goes further back, but I just I guess I had this hyper fixation on food rules and this food is healthy and this food is not, and this food will cause fat gain, even though we know that's not true. So I think learning about the actual science of nutrition, and also just learning to consider that health is multifaceted, and knowing that having one hyper focused goal on your physical body composition goal can take away from all of the other aspects of health. So I think just trying to view health as something that's very complex, and has so many different domains that you need to consider. I think that's probably the biggest shift that I've had kind of in the last, probably 5 to 6 years. Yeah.
Love that so much.
You're a whole person, dude.
That's literally the tea.
That's the tea.
Amazing. Well, I think we've had a really fantastic chat today.
Love you.
Why don't we tell the audience where they can find Zoe if they're not already...
Zoe Smith Fit.
On
Instagram. Otherwise, we'll be here at the gym, so come down.
Thrive Stronger Instagram. We're putting particularly Zoe is putting out some really fantastic nutrition content.
Thank you so much.
And we'll continue to do so, and training content, always, just everything. So make sure you give us a follow if you're not already following. And thank you so much for joining. Thanks for listening. And might see you on the next one.